I'm meeting with the American ambassador at 5 this afternoon. I have to be on that plane.
I fully understand, sir. We're doing everything possible to get you there. Now, is there anything that I can get for you?
A gin and tonic would help.
Of course. And another for you, sir?
Having a spot of bother, I see. I do apologize for my outburst. I need to make that darn connection. Well, that's quite all right. One must make allowances when in this country. I know you Americans are used to a higher level of service. One of the harsh realities for Americans abroad. You know, when my daddy was stationed here in 1942, he used to say, "You Australians are fighting a 100-mile-an-hour war at a snail's pace." I imagine it did them a power of good. It sure did, but not before he drove a bulldozer through a dockland wall. How so? Well, you see, there was a bottleneck caused by the supply vehicles entering and exiting through the same gateway. And when the Aussie CB said to him there was no way to fix.
You are, sirs?
As I was saying, he climbed into a wrecking dozer that had just been unloaded and drove it straight through the wall and added, "You've got another gate now." It's what I've always admired about you Americans, your can-do attitude. Would that we British were less conservative in our undertakings. And might I say that we Americans have always admired your sense of justice and fair play, especially from you upper-class people. You've done the world a great service by keeping socialism in check. Half of Europe seems to have succumbed. One does one's best, you know. You seem to have it under control better than the people here. I have to admit it was a fellow countryman of mine that was responsible for bringing socialism to Australia in the first place. Oh? And who might that have been? A Gerber by the name of King O'Malley. What he was king of? King of the commies, I guess. Anyway, he had this cockamamie idea that he was going to be this country's answer to Alexander Hamilton by starting up a people's bank. It took him about 80 years to fix the problem. Awfully glad they did. We can't have the vile and the profane laying claim to the national purse strings. What I can't understand about these Australians...
Good afternoon. We apologize for those on flight AAG177 to Jakarta. The flight will be delayed another hour as we have been instructed to refuel the plane.
Glad I'm not on that flight. It's ridiculous. These Australians, they think they're so different from you English, yet they do everything the same. At least we play a different ball game in the States. Well, I suppose that comes with colonization. There is always that element of transplanted culture. Surely you accept that your love of theatre and the arts has been handed down to you by our patronage. You bet we do. As a matter of fact, just the other month I took my wife to a Gilbert and Sullivan opera. We especially enjoyed the chorus of lords singing, "Bow, bow, ye lower middle classes, blow the trumpets, bang the brasses, tan, tan, ta." Pardon me for interrupting your special relationship.
Sorry, sir, but you can't smoke in here.
Allow me to introduce myself. I am Vassili Ankarov, and this my assistant, Tanya Kalenzakov. I'm pleased to make your acquaintance, my dear. Always nice to meet a Russian woman who isn't called Olga. My name is Prescott Campbell III. It is an honor to meet you, sir. And you are? Oh, I'm Lord Shaftsbury. I'm sorry for being somewhat overcome just now.
Would you like me to arrange another lounge chair for you, sir?
That will not be necessary. After such a long flight, I would prefer to stand for now.
If you would like to come this way.
It is, how you say, a ritual, is it not? I don't quite follow, old chap. In all of the world, always the same. Oh, I see what you mean. They always go in pairs. Yes, well, asking a man to conjoin with you at the urinal isn't really the done thing, wouldn't you say?
Unsightly, at best.
Well, what they have down there hardly rivals Rembrandt.
There's no need to be graphic.
The women of this country seem unloved to me.
Well, of course, our women expect better.
And woe betide you if they don't receive it. No, I wasn't referring to the beast with two backs, so no, not at all.
Sex is talked about far too often these days.
There is really no need. It is both everything and nothing.
It's rather like picking one's nose, isn't it? If nobody notices, it never happened, you might say.
Your flight is now ready for boarding, sir.
Thank you.
Passengers on flight NLM 106 to LA, please make your way to gate 45.
And what of our flight to Beijing?
Наша посадка через час, выход 50.
Wonderful things that they have accomplished in China.
We don't talk about them.
Well, it has been a pleasure, I must say. Please pass on my best wishes to the American ambassador.
I will give him your regards. Glad to have met you also, Mr. Ankarov. You know, you really should take a trip to the States sometime. See how we do things over there.
It would be, as you say, a pleasure.
Hope to see you again.
И я оповещу наши контакты о времени нашего прибытия в Пекин. Да?
I did not intend to offend your American friend with my reference to China.
Yes, well, we don't really want to talk about them, if you don't mind.
Very well, let us talk about Australia then.
What would you like to know? I haven't visited here in quite some time.
Comparisons between these people and their American cousins have always held some fascination for me.
Why is that?
They seem to be so different, and yet so very much the same.
Well, that's got something to do with transplanted cultures and colonization. I may have mentioned that before.
They seem to share a certain naivete, which I have always found to be endearing.
It can also be quite irritating at times. Take, for instance, the phenomenon known as the St. Patrick's Day Parade, which they both indulge in. You have all these people dressed in green marching down the main thoroughfare, proclaiming their Irishness.
What is bad about that?
No, most of them aren't Irish.
That does not seem so strange when you consider that neither country contains a middle class.
No, just a lot of people who think they are.
Excuse me, gentlemen, but your flight to Beijing is now boarding at gate number 50.
Then I must be gone. It has been a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Lord Shaftsbury.
And are you, Mr. Ankarov? I trust we will meet again.
I truly hope so.